Hi everybody, this is Black Rhino Ranger. Skylanders Superchargers has been revealed, and we already got some information about them. Any Skylander can drive those vehicles, the Superchargers can make those vehicles even more awesome. E3 is only over a week away, but I don't know if they're gonna reveal any more Supercharger information there. But considering how Skylanders Superchargers is gonna be released a lot more sooner than the original Skylanders games, and by the fact that it has revealed less characters, I don't see why E3 could not show some more detail about it. And I have so many questions about Skylanders Superchargers. With that being said, these are my top 11 questions for Skylanders Superchargers. Why top 11? Tell me, Mr. Nostalgia Critic, why do you do top 11 for your videos?
Why top 11? Because I like to go one step beyond.
You heard him right, fellas. His answer to my question is my answer to your question. And so, here we go.
Now here is a question for you. Remember the answer will start with a Q. Just think of a duck, be it white, brown, or black. What sound does it make? Why a ducky go?
Number 11. How do the Giants, the four-leggers, the Skylanders with the symbiotic relationship, and the Skylanders who are stuck in their vehicles before the Superchargers actually fit into the Supercharger vehicles? That thing has been boggling me for quite some time. I mean, how do the big, enormous, gigantic size of the Giants fit into those vehicles? Do the Giants shrink down or do the vehicles become bigger? I don't know. Also, how do the four-leggers actually drive this thing? I mean, I understand why Disney Infinity didn't include any four-legged characters as playable characters. It says it was a little too difficult for them to try and ride on other four-legged creatures or even have them drive and stuff like that. I can understand. But for Skylanders, I don't understand. How do they make four-leggers the drivers in Skylanders Superchargers? I'm also having a bit of a doubt that Spyro will become a Supercharger because A, the four-legged thing, and B, if they change his abilities, the controversy between him and the classic Spyro fans would increase, and that's not really a good thing. I can see Pop Viz becoming a Supercharger. What about the Skylanders with the symbiotic relationships? You know, Fright Rider and Rocky Roll, the two Skylanders who become one and stuff. Who drives it? The ostrich or the elf? The rocky creature or the other rocky creature? And then there's Treadhead, the Skylander who never leaves his vehicle. And Boomjet, who's a little bit the same unless you swap him. How does this all work? I mean, according to the Skylanders people, every one of those Skylanders, every Skylander is capable of using these vehicles. But I have to ask, how can the Giants drive these things? How can the four-legged Skylanders drive these things? How can the symbiotic Skylanders drive these things? How could those Skylanders who are already stuck in their vehicles before the Superchargers drive these things? Oh well, questions like that will have to be answered. Although I am also a little bit worried about the minis because
they're too young.
Okay, not actually that young, but close. Very close. If you haven't read their biographies.
What sound does it make? Why a ducky go?
Number 10. Which type of vehicle is the odd one out? By numbers. According to the Skylanders people, there are 20 vehicles, and there are 3 different types of vehicles. The soil, the sea, and the sky. Hey, I have to say alliteration. I couldn't say land unless I go for liquid and lifted. And by 20 vehicles, I mean something that's not divisible by 3. If there's 20 vehicles, which vehicle type do you think would be the odd one out? as in one vehicle shorter than the other categories. If it was 21, I can see an even Steven, or 24 even better. Which vehicle do you think should be one vehicle short? Let me know in the comments. And then there's a similar option to that in my next question.
What sound does it make? Why a ducky go?
Number 9. Exactly 20 or over 20 Skylanders? Like I said in my previous question, if they went for 20, one vehicle category has to be shorter than the others. If they went for 24, there's an even Steven, except for the light and dark elements. And I heard that there's going to be some light and dark elemental Skylanders. If that's the case, the only way it's even Steven is if it's all 30 instead of 20. Now I heard there's going to be 10 reposed Skylanders with brand new abilities instead of some rehashes. There is a chance we could have Spotlight and Blackout as returners, although it could only be 8 returners, and there could be some brand new Dark Elemental Superchargers and Light. What is your opinion about this? Should it be exactly 20 or over 20? 24 would be my greatest option, but I don't know. We'll have to find out sometime in the future.
What sound does it make? Why a ducky go?
Number 8. Any chances of tanks, trains, and trucks? Well, the categories for the Skylanders vehicles are land, lifted, and liquid. So far, the only land bit we have seen is the speed cars, the hot streak, and some sort of a dune buggy. For the air and the water vehicles, no, not the elements, the terrains, we see a submarine and a speedboat. For the air, we had the planes, or maybe a jet, and a helicopter. For the land, I don't see how they cannot exclude any trains, or tanks, or trucks. Although, for tanks, we do have a Skylander who can make a tank. No, the villain doesn't count because he's not playable in Skylanders Superchargers, confirmed by the guys. And we do have a train who's an item. And for trucks, maybe not because Disney Infinity, copycats, whatever. But should the land vehicles have the trucks, the trains, the tanks, and whatevers? Let me know in the comments.
What sound does it make? Why a ducky go?
Number 7. Any returning villains as non-playable characters? So far, the only returning villain is Chaos, and the only new villain is Stratosphere. What do I do about that winning Skylanders University guy? I mean, he has a similar name. Should I keep his name, or should I beg that guy to have it renamed? I don't know. But I wouldn't mind seeing some of the trappable villains from the previous game having a reappearance as non-playable characters. Although they could still be locked up at the villain vault. I don't know how Chaos managed to break out. But what else should come back? Mesmeralda, Vatak, Oculus, the Chompy Mage, the Sheep Mage? I don't think Chaos's mother. What is your opinion? Should they come back, or should there be strictly new villains aside from Chaos?
What sound does it make? Why a ducky go?
Number 6. 2 different traps of the same element. Different weapon or same weapon? Now, according to the guys who made Skylanders Superchargers, the villains are not going to be playable in Skylanders Superchargers. However, the traps can still be used in Skylanders Superchargers. Instead of having you play as a villain, it gives you a boost for your vehicle, a weapon, some special power-up, and if you have a trapped villain inside, it gives off a special Sky Stone for a brand new Sky Stones game. Depending on which element, it could be a little different, but if it's 2 different molds but the same element, Would it change anything? Would there be a different element to a weapon or pickup or something? Let me know what you think.
What sound does it make? Why a ducky go?
Number 5. Any chances of seeing those who weren't reposted in the past games? For over 3 games, we have 6 Skylanders who have not had a repost since their first appearance. We have Boomer, Voodoo, Ghost Roaster, Dino-Rang, Sunburn, and Fright Rider. And none of the Skylander Swap Force characters have had a single repost in Skylanders Trap Team. Well, except for Frido. But there is a chance one of those characters would be in Skylanders Superchargers as either a Supercharger and no. I don't think they're gonna be regular cores. I think they're just gonna be strictly Superchargers. I am hoping to see Ghost Roaster have a change of abilities. I mean, at least it's better than having him to die in the main hub. And I'm also hoping for Boomer and Dino-Rang to come back, because out of every Skylander who hasn't had a repost since its first appearance for over 3 games, Boomer and Dino-Rang are my most favorite. Sunburn and Ghost Roaster would be my least favorite, but I shouldn't go too far with them. I am making a Flash animated music video about the Skylanders who haven't been reposted for at least 3 games. If they haven't been reposted for at least 3 games, that means they are really inactive.
What sound does it make? Why a ducky go?
Number 4. Do we get to nickname the vehicles? I mean, we get to nickname the Skylanders, we get to nickname the villains, although we don't get to nickname the items and stuff. What about the vehicles? Can we still rename them? Can we still rename Hot Streak as the Barbecue Thrill? And we could rename the Sky Slicer as Wing Cut? Let me know in the comments if we should. I wonder if we could put hats on the vehicles. I know it's a little bit silly.
What sound does it make? Why a ducky go?
Number 3. Any adventure packs coming or revamped for Skylanders Superchargers? Now, previously in the previous game, Skylanders 5 is the only game that's capable with bringing back the previous Skylanders adventure packs as a new level. Skylanders Swap Force only sees this as items. And same with Trap Team. For Skylanders Superchargers, I sort of feel in that same category. I doubt they'll be able to be revamped due to the vehicle sessions and stuff like that, but it's still a possibility that they can be revamped. Also, are there any adventure packs coming? I hope so.
What sound does it make? Why a ducky go?
Number 2. Player versus player returning? I mean, it's one thing to have a player work with a player, but what if there was a player versus a player? It happened in Spar's Adventure, it happened in Giants, and it happened in Swap Force. But that bit was removed in Skylanders Trap Team. Now, there's a pretty good reason for this. There's only one trap slot in the Skylanders Trap Team portal, and it wasn't really working out of how they were going to have this as a player versus player battle concept thingy. But for Skylanders Superchargers, I think player versus player would be returning because we can no longer play as the villains. But that means the vehicles will have to be cut out. But I have heard that this game is going to have some online features. Or maybe not, I might have read it from somewhere. Should the player versus player thing return, or do you think it's better out that we just cooperate instead of be competitive?
What sound does it make? Why a ducky go?
And the number 1 question I have for Skylanders Superchargers is, what about Battle Flag or Battlecast? Is that a new game coming next year? Is it scrapped or is it an iPad exclusive game? I don't know. And those are my top 11 questions for Skylanders Superchargers. Will any of them be answered? Will any be answered? Do you have an answer for them? Please leave a comment. And there is a chance this video will be removed, probably when Skylanders Superchargers is out. I hope you've enjoyed this video.